next piece of business is that there is a 10-minute intermission in the middle of the show. You can see that in your program. You may notice in your program there are a lot of tellers this year. More tellers than ever before. I just couldn't do without one of them. So, tonight's show will be about the length of one of the Lord of the Rings movies. But I'm going to keep my talking down to a minimum. Our next performer has been described in many ways. Often I've described her as 3 or 4 Rachel Wanskers shoved into a Rachel Wansker suit. She is also being described sometimes as a graduating senior, because in a moment she's going to graduate from Kennesaw State University. And just most lately, she was given the award of Outstanding Senior in the Department of Theater and Performance Studies. Ladies and gentlemen, Rachel Wansker.
There was a magical place, a faraway land that you've probably never heard of, a country called Poland. Now, in this Poland, there lived a mighty king named Krakus. One day, Krakus fell ill from a rare genetic disease called getting old. And he knew that he would one day need an heir. Now Krakus had 6 children, 5 sons and 1 daughter. And since all of his sons were super dumb, he decided to make his only daughter, Wanda, the ruler of Poland. And she did rule. She proved to be the best monarch ever. She was beautiful, but better yet, she was smart. Her foreign policy was jamming. When she was on the throne, the Dow was always up. She had the tenacity of Elizabeth Warren, the intellect of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and the fashion sense of Michelle Obama. One day, whilst receiving the royal pap smear, the court gynecologist gasped. Wanda was aghast that he would gasp at the royal vagina. But before she could protest, the gynecologist said, I am afraid you have contracted a rare genetic disease called getting old. The very same one that killed your father. Oh, your biological clock is ticking so loudly I can barely hear own terrible accent. And since, unfortunately, Wanda was not a lesbian, she had to marry a prince and give birth to an heir of her own. So she sent Evites out to every prince in the world, and they dressed the palace in traditional Polish fashion. There were bales of hay for people to sit on, Polish sausage for people to eat, and a giant throne entirely made of goats for Wanda to sit on. There. And one by one, the princes came forth and pronounced their love to her. The first prince, Prince Wilhelm, gave her his best compliments. You are so lovely and smart and beautiful for a girl. Next! The next prince, Prince Boris, also did his best. Well, hello, little lady. I think we'll have a bright future together. I'll talk about cars and 4. It's real slow like, so your tiny lady brain can understand. Next, Prince Tomash gave her his best pickup lines. Hey girl, you got any raisins? How about a date? Because I want to do sex to you! No! Wanda could not find an appropriate suitor to help her rule Poland and just let Wanda do Wanda. Meanwhile, just a stone's throw away in Germany, Prince Victor received his evite. Ba-ding! The internet is slow when you're evil. Prince Victor was just that. He was pure evil. He had a crooked smile and an unsettling mustache, and a big cape with a giant P on it that stood for patriarchy. You know, those guys you always see on the internet making rude comments about women? Well, Prince Victor was all of those guys! He was the original troll. At last, he said, I will have a queen to call my own. Also, I will take Poland for myself with its fine crops and its many goats. I will call it Second Germany or New Germany or Germany Junior. So Prince Victor wanted to stick his flagpole into Wanda's fertile lands. So he decided to write a strongly worded letter and send 12 of the toughest, meanest, ugliest mailmen that he had to deliver the letter. Meanwhile, Wanda was lounging on her throne entirely made of goats. Bah. Listening to the soft, soothing sounds of NPR. When suddenly she heard a loud knock on the door. Boom, boom, boom. And since Wanda is a strong, independent woman, she got up and answered the door herself. And there were the 12 mailmen. They were ugly. They had scars on their faces and eye patches and tattoos that said mom. They had hooks for hands. Yeah, they all had hooks instead of hands. One mailman stepped forward and pulled out a grisly hook. On the end of that hook was a single letter. Wanda took the letter and began to read. Dear Wanda, I hope you are well. Will you marry me? If you refuse, I will seize Poland for myself. Actually, letter is unnecessary because you have no choice. Anyway, it's polite to warn enemies about battle. Oh, also enclosed is a picture of my Wiener Schnitzel for romance. Love, Victor. P.S. You're fat. Wanda folded up the letter, placed it back on the hook, took a deep breath. In a clear, confident voice, she said, "Go back from whence you came, and you tell your prince to keep his German hands to himself, for he will never have my hand in marriage without a clear and consensual yes." While Wanda was confident on the outside. On the inside, she was secretly freaking out. What was she going to do? Well, there was only one thing to do. She was going to call upon the Polish gods for help. Well, she locked herself in a tower, and for hours and hours on end, she prayed to the Polish gods for help. Until finally, they answered her prayers. Is that you, Polish gods? What? A sacrifice? Are you sure, Polish gods? Okay, Polish gods. So she followed her feet all the way to the bank of a giant river. She looked down at the water and saw her fate. She took a courageous breath and leapt into the water. And then she drowned immediately. The next morning, there was no call to war. The Polish peasants were peaceful. The goats were snoozing soundly in their goat chamber. And Victor did not invade that day, nor any other day. For the Polish gods made an agreement with Wanda that in exchange for her life, they would curse Victor with an affliction so that he would never be able to erect his flagpole into Polish fertile lands again. And he was never able to erect his flagpole ever again. Well, you got there. When the Polish people heard about Wanda's death, they wept for days. But they never forgot about her brave act to save Poland. They laid her body in the grave next to her father. And that was the end of the Polish monarchy. And as the history books tell us, Poland was never invaded again.